Okay, so why did I drive home the Poulan Pro while walking the dog, not driving the dog? And I have a jumper pack for power, and it wasn't running overly good. I had this running just last weekend. It was running half decent, but it really hasn't been out on a long ride and ran for a long period of time in quite some time. There's a chance, but I'm not holding my breath, that it is sold. So I figured I'd bring it home and see what it needs to potentially cut grass again, which I think all it needs is electric PTO clutch. Either put on this engine, or I'm going to swap out the engine and the whole assembly on the replacement engine. It currently has a 19 horsepower opposed twin. As you can see, there's my jumper pack leads. This engine runs good, but I don't really want to leave this engine in here since this machine has, I believe, a 48-inch deck. Yep, 48-inch deck that goes with it. The 21 horse might be a little bit better, even though an 18 horse will run that size of deck. Having a little bit extra power wouldn't be a bad idea. Also, the engine that I'm thinking about putting in here is a much newer engine. It's a single cylinder, so it does not have a fuel pump currently, but it's a good engine for what it is. It will bolt in here without any issues. I do have all of the heat shields. I have all of the exhaust to make it work, everything. This was originally a 25 horse, as you can see from the hood. So going to a 21 horse, it might be a 21.5, but 21 horse, sorry, won't be too big of a deal. The biggest issue I'll have on this is the fuel pump. The single cylinder does not have a fuel pump. I could do a fuel pump one of two ways: electric, which would be the easiest, or I could do a vacuum fuel pump, ran off the dipstick, or I'd have to buy more parts and run it off of the vacuum on the intake. More leaning towards running vacuum off of the dipstick if I go that route, or go electric. I just don't know, since this machine will be sold potentially, how selling it with an electric fuel pump, some people won't care as long as it works, sort of thing. That's really all I care about, is that it works. So there's one other thing that needs to be done. I gotta put this cover right here back on, which I do have. I have modified it to make it work. It might need to be painted, which might not be the easiest thing to do right now, since it's only about 4 Celsius. So we'll see on that. You can see the fuel line is just hanging. So if I mount the fuel pump, it'll probably be mounted to the battery tray right here. I'll also have to get this engine out and see what's all going on first. But it just does have the plug right here, and this engine actually did have that plug as well. Or did I wire? Yeah, I did wire that in. So this will plug right into the other engine I have for this, straight up. I started to double check how the wiring was on this. And this engine here will probably be going in the Hoopty project, so that will actually plug straight into the Hoopty project as well. So electrical will actually be easy. I kind of forgot how electrical was on this. But the biggest issue is the PTO clutch and fuel. So everything else I can handle, but figuring out what I want to do for the PTO and fuel, that's kind of up in the air at the moment, and I don't know what I want to do with that as of right this second. These will have to be removed since it's no longer a hydro, it's a 6-speed. So yeah, that's where we are at this right now. But the deal I'm working on is actually a trade deal. So what I'm thinking about doing is getting the engine swapped out in this, then contacting the person who wants to do the trade, send them the pictures with the other engine in here. I don't want to show pictures of this engine in here since this engine is not being included. I'm just trying to basically make it a little bit nicer for the trade, for what I'm hopefully trading for. So that's where we are right now. Either have this machine here, or I have the Yardworks out back. The Yardworks, all it really needs is deck work, but This one here is a little bit nicer, in my opinion. It needs to be baffed, but it is overall a nicer machine. So that's why it's home. It's going to get an engine regardless if it gets traded or not. It's going to get electric PTO regardless if it's getting traded or not. And it'll get ready, put back in storage for next season, pulled back out and sold, or it's going to be gone in the next few days to a week, sort of thing. That's where we're at. So I'll talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment. And always be careful when you're walking your dog while riding your mower.